once basketball came back, we got those preseason games. We forgot about the message. Yeah, Black Lives Matter was on the court. Yeah, they had it on T-shirts. Yeah, that was all good. But we really stopped having the conversation. It was about who gonna get that 8 seed. It was about, who was not going into the playoffs. We were talking about TJ Warren dropping 50. It wasn't about
Dame Dollar.
Taylor.
Yeah.
It wasn't about George Floyd. We quickly forgot. And I commend the NBA. I commend the Milwaukee Bucks for taking that stand today. I would have liked them to inform the Orlando Magic so the Orlando Magic didn't look silly going out on the court. But I'm glad that the Orlando Magic complied. We're not going to see NBA for a while, fellas. I think the season is done. Yeah. I think, first of all, I don't think the players didn't really want to go to this bubble to begin with. So now you giving them a strong reason to leave this bubble. And I think they're ready to take a big stand because sitting out a couple games don't do anything. But you cancel these playoffs and you don't have an NBA champion, you don't have an NBA Finals, ABC now don't have anything to put on TV. They're losing millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. Now you're talking. And I think they're ready to put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things is, fellas, that I was talking to Clarence about before we brought y'all on was, we all got kids or we all got nieces and nephews that we have to have that we have to raise, and deal with. And Cam, I know you got a son. I know you got a daughter. Clarence.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, I'm not sure if you got kids, but I know you got some nieces and nephews or something.
Got one on the way. Got one on the way.
Okay, you got one on the way. And it's unfortunate that we have to have these conversations with our kids about how to conduct themselves when they get pulled over by police officers. It's unfortunate that we have to talk to our kids about no subtle movements, do as you are told, don't, carry yourself a certain way so you can come home, And it's just unfortunate that we have to have those conversations with our kids. And even myself as a grown man at 29 years of age, I'm uncomfortable when I see the police, behind me or somewhere in the same vicinity, where I'm at. So it's just unfortunate.
Yeah. And Mr. Darrell Owens, would you like to
there's times that I just don't want to drive. I just don't feel up to it. I've been pulled over enough times. I've been racially profiled by the police. They asked me why was I in the area, what was I doing in the area, and we're denied to live in certain communities. We're denied of certain communities. They don't want us in certain environments. If we are, then we get racially profiled. We're in there because we're allegedly trying to break in someone's house when it's not the case at all. But you can still comply with their orders and they could still shoot you. We saw that with the Minnesota officer that shot Castile. He reached for the glove compartment as he was advised to, and as soon as he reached for it, what happened? He got shot. So you can still do all the things necessary and follow all the proper procedures and everything, and they can still kill you. But all you can do in a situation like that is keep your hands on the steering wheel if they tell you to put them there. Just follow all the instructions that they give you. And if you do that, hopefully you could escape the situation unharmed. That's the troubling part. It's very paranoid. It leaves you paranoid. You don't know what's gonna happen, and it's just scary. But I think the biggest problem, you guys, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I think it's fear. They fear us, and a lot of it has to do with ignorance. They look at the color of your skin and they think you're just like everybody else. So they are fast to racially profile you. And if you come off the wrong way, they're going to get very hostile with you. And that's what we've been seeing in recent years. It's not right. And enough's enough. Something's got to be done. I mean, Breonna Taylor got shot in her own apartment. It's sickening. It leaves you angry because that's your brothers and sisters. You know, these are our people that's getting shot and killed for no reason, for doing absolutely nothing wrong. You don't have to do anything wrong to get gunned down by the police. And that's what's really disturbing, really.
Yeah. And I want to welcome in. Hold on real quick. I want to welcome in program director and on-air personality of Legacy Maker Sports Network and my fellow Packer brother.
Go Pack, go.
Darrell Owens. What's up, Darrell?
Hey, what's up, brother? How y'all doing today, man? Thanks for having me on, fellas.
No Packers talk, all right? No Packers.
Come on, man. Don't be like that.
Yeah, don't be like that.
Don't be like that.
So Darrell, I want to start off with you on this one. We've been talking about, the NBA boycott. The Milwaukee Bucks refused to take the floor in their Game 5 matchup this afternoon against the Orlando Magic. And then the Thunder and the Rockets, they followed suit and they postponed their Game 5 matchup. And the Lakers and the Blazers did the same as well. So I want to get your take about everything that we're dealing with right now in our country and also how it's affecting the sports world. And what do you think is going to be the outcome now that the NBA players have boycotted playing games?
Boy. 2020 has been a one heck of a year, man. I will say this. What happened today, it needed to happen. It's one of those things where I think you guys made great points where I think, with the game being back, people kind of lost sight of what was going on. And they kind of went away from, they went away from that vibe, like NBA was back, sports are back, baseball's back, everybody's happy, everybody was kind of like, we're good. But then, this happens and we get a chance to see, another example of why, we had the protests in the first place. Another example of why, players have been upset and why they didn't want to start. I guess exactly what Kyrie Irving was saying earlier, like my man Kam said, like, it was one of those things that I got to apologize to him because I thought he was crazy. I was like, come on, Kyrie, you just don't want to do it because, nobody, you're not playing. And so you don't want to play.
Real quick, Darrell. That's what Kam said too, I think. Didn't you say that, Kam?
And that's what Kam said.
I said something to that nature. I pretty much said like, it was the right thing to say, but it was from the wrong person. Like I didn't want to hear it from Kyrie.
You're 100% right about that because, I ain't trying to be mean, but Kyrie Irving is not the most reliable person to speak out on those type of things. He's had a couple of runs here and there that I'm like, come on, bro. Like, I just thought he was saying it just to be spiteful. But besides that, in the end, he was right. It's something that we needed to be able to, like, really concentrate on what's going on in today. And, this happening today is just a small step. But I don't know if it'll do what we really needed to be done because here's my problem with a lot of this. What ends up happening is they'll be like, oh man, this is happening. It's a focus for a while. But in this day and age, with our, with the where we are in the world today, short attention spans. And so now all of a sudden it's back in the forefront because it happened again. And I had a good friend of mine tell me, they was like, this is a perfect thing for a young generation to take the lead of. The one thing that they were worried about is that the young generation would get off the track and they would lose sight of what needs to be done. And the biggest thing is they try to throw small things in the way to get our minds off of it. Example, we're going to change Angie Mama to Aunt Sheila, or we're going to do that. Why do you have to give us like baby victories in your eyes to try to make it look like, hey, we're trying. Hey, look, guess what? We're doing this. Guess what? We're trying to do this. So that way you don't have to worry about what's going on. But in the end, they're not focusing on the things that need to be done. Breonna Taylor, guess what? They've not been arrested. It doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. Kentucky has held fast against it. LeBron and multiple athletes have preached about it, talking about, hey, man, say her name. The problem is they feel like if they can just throw a couple of things here and there just to make us happy, then we'll forget about it. And kind of an example, we get the NBA back, a little bit, forgot about it a little bit. It was there, but you forgot about it a little bit. And unfortunately, that's where it is. And until we can get to that vocal point where it's like, look, this is what it is. This is what we need to do to get this change. And the problem is they made it just like Kaepernick's knee. And I know that's a little bit far, but just like Kaepernick taking the knee, they make it political and they find a way to take it away from what the issue actually is into what the issue they want it to be.
That's a good point,
Darnell. That's the problem, and it happens all the time. It's like you gotta stay focused on what you need ahead of time instead of trying to. But it always happens. You watch it. There's always a way for them to find a way to be like, oh, guess what? That's not happening anymore. It happens every time. That's my biggest problem with it. But I'm glad the NBA did what they did tonight to give, to let people know, hey man, we got to do something about this. We want the reform. Okay, we're not asking for police officers to die. We're not asking for police officers to get hurt. What we're asking for is, hey, treat us with respect, treat us like human beings, and don't stereotype us just because you see black and this and that. That's all we want. We just want to be treated as
bingo.
Equal. That's all we want.
Yeah, and Darrell, you made a great point. You made some great points, bro. And one of the things that I told Clarence a little bit earlier too was, fellas, I hate the fact that you hear when these police shootings happen, you always hear white America. You always hear them say stuff like, oh, just because that was one police officer that did that, don't mean that they're all bad. But guess what? They always group us together. They say we all the same. If it's one, it's 10 of them that's all the same. We're all thugs. We don't get the benefit of, hey, this is a good individual and that's just one bad apple. I don't like the fact that they try to make it seem as if, oh, that's just one bad police officer, but we don't get that benefit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think that we don't get that look, and you don't say, "Hey, man, is that?" That's what drives me nuts. Look at us as individuals. Don't look at us as, well, let's group it all together. I have family that are police officers. I got 3 or 4 of my cousins are police officers. My uncle, who God rest his soul, died because of this crazy COVID. He was a police officer. My uncle, my mom, police officers. They all served and they were police officers. And I know them personally, and they're great people. So not all police officers are bad, but like you said, they group us as all being bad. So most people don't, it's like, oh, it's not right to group them as all bad.
Go ahead, Clarence.
And it was ridiculous though, guys, though, like how people was like commenting on the post. Like if ESPN was talking about this, they were just saying he was a criminal. He deserved it. And it was just like, wow. You start seeing all that didn't. That's racist. That's racist. Like he deserved it. He had a criminal record. Like what that had to do with him getting shot and just going into his car? He got shot 7 times in front of his kid. So they trying to just basically put, oh, he's a bad guy anyway, so he needs to get shot. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, so what of his past or whatever he got going on? This guy was unarmed. And then was another post that guy claimed that he had a knife in his hand. And I'm like, what? Where are all these accusations coming from? Like,
wow, man.
Like, 7 times back with his kids in the car. That's ridiculous and it's sad and it's traumatizing. I don't understand.
Let's bring my man.
People trying to reach for justification. Why?
Yeah, right. Let's bring my man Kam back in here, fellas. Kam, you want to respond to any of the things that we just said?
Man, y'all hitting it all on the head, really. And what's so deep about it is that, and like you see some of the Facebook posts and you see some of the people that you conversate on a daily basis with, all of a sudden turn left on you. And it's like, whoa, like where did that come from? Like last couple months ago with the George Floyd thing, you was with us.
Yeah.
Like now it's like you done did a complete 360 on me. Like it's the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? And my thing is, it was multiple officers on the scene. If 2 or 3 officers can't take down one man and apprehend him to the point where they're able to arrest them properly, they don't need to be doing their job. They don't need to be doing that job. I'm sorry. They don't need to be doing that job. Multiple officers should be able to handle the situation, be able to get that young man down to the ground and arrest him. Without, I mean, I don't understand. Like, how does it even get to that point where he's running back to his car?
Yeah,
that's my whole issue. Yeah. It doesn't
Right.
even get that far. If you do what you're supposed to do, it doesn't even get that far.
Completely agree with you, Cam. And I'll take it a step further. I told Clarence this earlier. What if we didn't have the video footage that we had of this incident? This would have got swept under the rug. I remember I talked about months ago. Me and Clarence talked about it before it even blew up. I talked about the Breonna Taylor situation. Fellas, the Breonna Taylor situation, that happened before the George Floyd incident. But I think those Louisville police officers, they tried to sweep that Breonna Taylor situation under the rug. That was my feelings about it. I felt like they was trying to sweep it under the rug so no one would know about it, and it didn't get the national attention that it should have when it first initially happened. I feel like the Breonna Taylor situation didn't blow up until the summer. It happened in February. In February.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And that Daniel Cameron, man, he's awful. He is awful. He is the guy that's supposed to be in charge of convicting him. I mean,
who is Daniel?
He's ridiculous.
Is he the mayor?
It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous at this point. And I don't know what we can. And the thing is, everybody's looking like, oh, why the NBA boycott? What are they gonna do to push this movement? I'm like, give them time. Why do we have to rush to figure out what they want to do?
Right.
You know what I mean? The first step was, okay, let's boycott, let's affect these pockets. Then let's bring our hands together and let's see what we can do to move forward. There's no need to rush the movement, but gradual steps do need to be taking place, but it has to be taking place the right way. We got to do this the right way, and I think we're headed towards that because they're being organized about it.
Completely agree with you, Cam. John, let's hop back in here. I know you want to say something on what we've been talking about. Your turn, bro. You got the floor.
Yeah, man, I just want to say once again that I think the NBA has done a great job throughout this entire process. I think they've done a great job during this pandemic as well. They moved to a bubble, kept everyone safe, and now you have this. Now you have them standing up for social injustice. It's just nice to see. It's wonderful to see. I hope it continues, and I hope it finally, sends a message to the rest of this country that it's time for change. I hope that's what comes out of this, and these NBA players are using their knowledge and their platform to make a difference. And I appreciate them for that. I admire them 100%. And for those who are whining and complaining about there not being any basketball, understand something. That life itself is bigger than basketball. And at this point, Black Lives Matter, because we've seen enough of these police shootings, and these police out here are running rampant, killing our black men, and now it's a time to really bring awareness about all of this. And you got to remember this too: Black athletes, men and women, are Black first.
Right.
And I want to say something real quick, fellas, and I want y'all to chime in on this. This is to white America. This ain't the time to be straddling the fence. You can't straddle the fence. You got to be anti-racism. I don't want to hear, I'm not a racist, so that doesn't affect me. I'm not going to deal with that situation because I don't have anything to do with those people because I'm not a racist. No, you have to be anti-racism. You have to be against racism. You can't straddle the fence here. We don't need those individuals who can't make up their mind. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you're not a part of the solution, you are part of the problem. So we need individuals to speak out against those racist individuals that we're dealing with in our country.
Absolutely.
I agree.
100.
Bro, you want to say? You want to say?
Well, I think my biggest thing with this is when it comes all down to it is this. I think what the NBA and what other sports say, we're as we're talking, I see the MLS is shutting things down. I see baseball is shutting things down. That's all good things. The biggest problem, and it will remain the biggest problem until leadership makes the push to make this happen. Unfortunately, it won't happen. Like I said earlier, they've made this so political that on one side they've enticed a base to make that hint of racism just kick out there. And then on one side, I feel like they're talking about it, but they're not really doing anything about it. So you got two sides that are like not really, they're out there talking just to hear themselves talk. Until there's leadership that says, hey man, this is what needs to happen. Until there's somebody that goes out there that's up higher than us, that makes the leap to push this thing, we're not going to get what we truly want. We can get close to it. We can push the envelope. But until that person says, hey, this is wrong. And I'm being honest with you, I don't think we got that person up top that's going to make sure that thing happens. Unfortunately, we're going to need change in order for that to happen. And instead of it being such a political thing, why don't we look at the human side of things? Why don't we take care of it? It's like coronavirus itself. The coronavirus should have never got to this point. Instead of you making it political, we should have took care of us. You should have took care of your people. You should have took care of your country. Problem is you went so far and you was making it political. You want to make it this way. Make it about the people that you promised or you were voted in to serve. That's the problem. And until that leadership happens, I don't see, as much as I would love to see the change, I can't see it until that happens.
Yeah, and the NBA, they're one thing, like the NBA, they're scheduling a special meeting with the governor tomorrow morning. So that should take place tomorrow, and we should move into that, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, you don't have to be African American to be hurt by that video you saw of Jacob Blake getting shot 7 times. You don't got to be black. That's just a human. You just need to be human. Watching that 7 times that man got shot in broad daylight, like Kam said, you couldn't subdue him. You couldn't tackle him to the ground. Like what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you shoot someone 7 times, your intent is to kill. Point blank.
Comply or die, man. It's just ridiculous, Trey, man. Like, just ridiculous that he got shot 7 times and you couldn't have him comply. That just shows you, like, you need to go back to training. You need to go back to training to police academy to get those trainings together. Like, or you just don't.
But it comes down to, what are they training them? Because that's what it starts to make you wonder. Like, is there a code to it? What's the code that we don't know? And what type of training is going? That's one of the biggest problems. Right, what type of training are they giving these people? Did they give them the thought that I can go out here and I can run the world and this is who I am and I can do whatever I want? They obviously feel confident enough that I can shoot you 7 times in the back and I got a 90% chance that I can get off. What is that?
Right.
That's part of the problem.
And real quick, before my man Jonathan, he got to go. But Jonathan, you got any closing thoughts before we let you go, bro?
No, I want to add on to that though about training. A lot of these police officers, just remember this: they get onto the force so they can have that authority, so they can have that power. They get on the force so they can do whatever they feel they can do to the African American culture. That's what we're seeing here. What this all is, my friend, is modern day lynching. I hate to sound like that, but it's facts. Yeah. Modern day lynching. That is what you're seeing.
Kam, you want to chime in?
Hey, no, that pretty much. I definitely agree. I think that the needle will be moved a bit, but like Darrell said, man, until we have someone like a real leader step up and push this thing, it's gonna be hard. Like I said, we need reform. We need police reform. We need resources in our communities to be successful. Like that's where it starts. There, like Chris Webber. he kind of touched me when he said, when he saw Charles Barkley come to his high school, and he actually saw it. Like, he actually saw an NBA player, you know what I mean? And it's so many of our kids that have the dream, but they don't see it. They can't see it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That little light that Chris Webber had, just seeing Charles Barkley and meeting him like this is possible, gave him that push. And we need those resources, in our community. It starts there. Police reform, but that's a long way to go. That's a long way to go. We've came a long way. We've had a black president and everything, but nothing has changed. Our community is still suffering.
Yeah, one more thing I was gonna say too, fellas. I got one more thing I want to say before we let y'all go. I was gonna say, in order for us to have change, we need those white individuals who are athletes to speak up as well. I'm calling out Aaron Rodgers. I love you, bro. I think you're the best quarterback in the NFL still, but we need you. We need you, Tom Brady, Mr. 6-time Super Bowl champion. We need you, J.J. Watt. The ambassador that he is in that Houston community. We need those white athletes to step up and speak out on behalf of the Black African American community and the social injustices that we're dealing with.
Definitely though. I don't think Oscar Robertson, white athletes in general, needs to speak up because they want change. They need to make a change. Definitely.